Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. What's going on, guys? Now, words to my brethren in Las Vegas, Nevada. Shout out to Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, a report came out not too long ago, and a couple people had asked me to do a video about this, and I'm going to do it and give you guys my honest thoughts on this, because look, on this channel, on True School Sports, I call a spade, and whether it's for fighters I like or fighters I don't like, I call a spade, and, hopefully you guys see it that way. But anyway, a recent report came out on yahoosports.com and on a couple media platforms that Gennady Golovkin is going to skip his June fight with Billy Joe Saunders, which if he won, would make him the undisputed middleweight champion of the world. He's going to skip that fight to focus on fighting Canelo Alvarez. What? I gotta admit this, okay? Look, I know there's probably videos out there of other people who like Gennady Golovkin justifying why this is right and whatnot, and if that's your opinion, fine, but that's not cool with me. Honestly, that's not cool. And honestly, I gotta call Gennady Golovkin out on this. This is some, excuse my language, this is some bullshit. Like, he should really be fighting Billy Joe Saunders, because for all the talk we've heard of him being undisputed, and I genuinely believe that's what he still wants to do. But now it's time to actually fight Billy Joe Saunders. And mind you, this is the same Billy Joe Saunders who he struggled with Arthur Akavov. Arthur Akavov was piecing this dude up. And I know that's a quick turnaround. You fought on March 18th, but if you fight somewhere in late June, that's still 3 months, and I'm sure you take a week or two off and get right back to it and make the fight happen. So that's really, to me, this is very disappointing. That's coming from somebody who's I would say I'm a big fan of Gennady Golovkin. I think he's great for boxing. I think his middleweight title run has been great. But I mean, when we look at his last fight, right? And I'll be honest. When I watched the fight, the Daniel Jacobs Gennady Golovkin fight live. Now we did a live reaction. You guys, for the live reaction, if you were on the channel and you were here, you saw that I thought Daniel Jacobs won that fight. Because I just thought he did a lot of things as far as disrupting Gennady Golovkin's timing and landed some good shots of his own. But then I actually recently just rewatched it, and I thought Golovkin speed him slightly. It was still, in my opinion, I had Golovkin. I think when I watched it the second time, I had him up maybe 2 or 3 points, just because he was the sharper puncher that night, and the knockdown really played a big role. Had the knockdown not happened, he probably would have been a lot closer the second time I watched it. But I'm not gonna say act like I didn't think Jacobs won the first time. I thought Jacobs won the first time. And Gennady Golovkin, right? Gennady Golovkin has been talking about wanting to stay at middleweight, wanting to be undisputed. It's the reason why he said he didn't go up and fight guys like Froch and Andre Ward, and people gave him a lot of flack for that. But this is the number one reason why he stayed at 160, was to be undisputed. So for people who don't like Gennady Golovkin, this gives him a lot of ammunition to say that he's full of shit, that he doesn't know what that he was just blowing smoke out of everybody's ass, and that he really wasn't about being undisputed. Now, this is not to say that he won't fight if he fights Canelo and beats Canelo. This is not to say that he won't then fight Billy Joe Saunders after and be undisputed. But for me personally, that makes no sense, because you're still going to run the risk of losing to Canelo, who is going to be he's going to be a very live dog in that fight because of his youth, because of his power. I still think Gennady Golovkin will beat him, but it's going to be a very, very tough fight for Golovkin. He's running the risk of losing that fight, and if he loses that fight, and if he loses that fight, this right here, this is going to make his middleweight title run look very bad, because he had a chance to go undisputed. He talked about being undisputed repeatedly, and then he had it, and then he didn't do it because he for whatever reason, he just wanted to just fight Canelo. So he's running a very big risk, and I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that I'm disappointed in Gennady Golovkin, because he should be the first guy to be undisputed in boxing. He's done it the right way. He's fought it everywhere. He's fought so many top 10 middleweights and beat them decisively. It's been a dominant run. But now it's time to become undisputed, and for me to hear this, I'm disappointed. So here's what the article said on Yahoo.com. I've been talking a lot right now. Abel Sanchez, in regards to Gennady Golovkin's current condition, he said the following. I quote, "Gennady was sore. He had a 12-round fight. I didn't see it at first, the first day in the dressing room, but usually the second day or the third day, you don't start to feel it, and I didn't check in with him right away. After a long training camp, I'm the last person he would want to see. He is not a complainer. It's just natural soreness. It was a difficult fight. And that's what it is. So, all of a sudden, Gennady Golovkin, I mean, as much as I love the guy, he's not looking too good right now because of this. Every fighter gets sore. Every fighter gets nicks and bruises. It's boxing. Nobody's really ever 100% after a fight at the world-class level. Gennady Golovkin just fought what was rated by many people, and Ring Magazine included, the #1 middleweight outside of himself. Although, each his own. But he still fought a tough fighter. And, you don't fight someone at the level of Daniel Jacobs in your division, and then all of a sudden, after the fight's over, and you could say you don't want to fight for the undisputed championship of the world. This is the undisputed middleweight championship of the world. You don't want to fight. It's a bad look, especially when you factor in that it's not like Gennady Golovkin is fighting some killer. He's fighting freaking Billy Joe Saunders, a guy that, if you watch this last fight with Arthur Akavov, might have even, in the eyes of some, lost that fight. He struggled with Arthur Akavov. So the fact that Gennady Golovkin doesn't want to fight that guy and this current version of Billy Joe Saunders makes that even all the more worse. And I can't lie. I'm very disappointed. I still think he's a great middleweight. I still think he's a great fighter. I still think he has a legitimate claim to pound #1. But this is not a good look. And I hope that K2 Promotions, Abel Sanchez, Tom Loeffler, and Gennady Golovkin himself, they rectified the situation. They realized that, hey, we should fight for the undisputed middleweight championship of the world before we fight Canelo. That way, when we do fight Canelo, it makes the fight that much bigger. See what I'm saying? Like, think about it, right? The Gennady Golovkin Canelo fight, it's going to be a big fight regardless, all right? And it's going to do great numbers. I think for that fight, if you put it on pay-per-view, you're looking at anywhere from 700,000 to 1 million pay-per-view buys. I genuinely believe that. But how much more better could you sell that fight if you have a guy in Gennady Golovkin going into the fight as the undisputed middleweight champion of the world, and that fight is for the undisputed middleweight championship of the world? It makes it that much more better, and I think that's the route Gennady Golovkin should go. So I'm disappointed. I'm not going to sit here and try to rationalize this. And look, I don't even want to say this, honestly, because it sounds ridiculous to say, honestly, because he would beat, if they fought, he would beat the hell out of this guy. But for people who want to say that Gennady Golovkin, for whatever reason, is ducking Billy Joe Saunders, which I've gotten in my comment section, I don't agree with it, but I'm sure I'm not going to argue with him because, I mean, Billy Joe has done some ducking in the past, but now the fight's more makeable than ever. He can fight Billy Joe in Kazakhstan, in his hometown, have a hometown fight, have the judges stacked in his favor, and it's not a good look. So I'm very disappointed with Gennady Golovkin, and hopefully within the next month or so, not even the next month, in the next week or so, they, K2, Gennady, Abel, these guys pull their heads out of their behinds and realize that they need to fight for the undisputed middleweight championship of the world. Or maybe this is all smoke and mirrors, and that's their plan anyway. Or maybe they truly just don't care about it, and it's all about business. We don't really know what goes on behind the scenes, but from where I'm standing, from where many of the boxing fans are standing, it's a terrible look that Gennady is not fighting Billy Joe Saunders. So right now in June, when he could be undisputed champion, by the time the Canelo fight comes in September. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Gennady Golovkin not going to fight Billy Joe Saunders in June to become undisputed champion. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this, and take the time to subscribe, all that good stuff. And you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.